Welcome to another episode of Round the Fire with Momo. You might remember my stance on the up return controversy from my earlier episode with Zia. Back then, I strongly advocated for keeping the limit, but I kept an open mind, listened to both sides, and eventually, a short conversation with Shore's provost became the final straw that broke the camel's back. In this video, I'll explain why I've changed my mind and now advocate removing the up return limit altogether. It'll be a short one, so follow along. I had the chance to meet Shores at the Bitcoin Film Fest in Warsaw. While I told him I respected his opposing views, I wanted to ask something that I was curious about. I asked whether, from his point of view, running Bitcoin knots instead of core posed any dangers. He said that the word danger is a strong word, but pointed out that knots might not see some transactions when a new block comes in, because its mempool rejected them due to its stricter policy. So you get a latency. Your node has to fetch those missing transactions before it can validate or mine the next block. That's a real problem if you're a miner. While you're still busy syncing up, other miners have already moved on and they are working on the next block. They have earned fees from the higher up return transactions, and they get an edge with respect to time spent on the next block. In other words, if you are filtering higher up return, you're slower. You lose your edge. Spam still makes it on-chain, and the only real winners are large miners, either via out-of-band deals or just scooping up high transaction fees with large up returns. And here's the kicker: even if most of the network runs nuts, one big miner is enough to mine those transactions and put them on chain. Also, not all up return usage is considered spam. There are legitimate cases of it. For example, Ocean Mining used to block CoinJoin transactions just because their up return size was higher. I don't want to run a node that ends up censoring legitimate use cases such as CoinJoin. Back when I supported the up return limit, I even asked Sparrow Wallet to include public nuts nodes in the list of the public nodes it offers. I leave a link to that feature request below. Craig Rod, the well-known developer behind Sparrow, kindly responded, but pointed out that Nuts does not support BIP47. That would break important wallet functionality for users. Quick note, BIP47 is what allows wallets to create reusable payment codes. So people can receive funds privately without revealing their entire address history. Now let's talk about the demo that helped shift my thinking too. In Bitcoin Explained episode 98, it's a podcast by Shores and Aaron van Weerdom. Shores mentions a live demonstration by probably Peter Todd in probably Prague. Peter whispered the secret to someone in the front row, and some people in the audience were told not to pass the secret on. But the secret still reached the back row unchanged. The point is that if only 10% of the nodes relay a transaction with a large up return, it still gets to the miner. So limiting relay policies doesn't stop those transactions from getting mined, even when the majority of the nodes have a lower up return, because the transactions will get to the miner with the minority of the relaying nodes anyway. Or even worse, a miner can get out of band payment to receive these transactions without reliance on the nodes. And if that's the case, if this stuff is going on chain anyway, I'd rather be the one mining it and collecting the fees. I don't care if someone's NFT or bridge fails, I'm paid in sats. Let the free market and block size be the filters. I'm not here to judge other people's use cases. Now, I did worry about whether large up returns might be used to embed malicious code. By malicious code, I don't mean the code to a keylogger, but some that cannot run, which already exists on the network, but something that can break Bitcoin nodes. But if someone really wants to do that, that is possible already due to the reasons that I mentioned through up return. And even if up returns is blocked at the protocol level, not on policy level, they can the attacker can use bare multisig to store that data, which also bloats the UTXO set. In that case, it doesn't matter anymore because it is going to break all the Bitcoin nodes. It's a hypothetical situation, but imagine that this possibility exists. If that exists, we are already fucked, and there is no way around it. I also asked Kevin from Liana if disabling bare multisig was possible. He said it would mean censoring public keys. That leads to a slippery slope. Who decides what gets censored? At that point, the cure is worse than the poison. But if a real existential threat emerges, like the one I mentioned, like arbitrary data that can crash all nodes, then and only then would I support a protocol level limit on up return and bare multisig. Because a policy level censorship just wouldn't cut it. But if the side effect is some spam with higher fees, I'll happily take the fees. As history shows, fads like inscriptions fade. We're already back to 1 to 3 sats per byte, and despite the popular belief, Mempools always clear. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. As I said, that was a short one. Curious to know your views.